What does getting residency in a country like Dubai look like? What does that process look like? This will give you some insight on how residency in many other countries work. I'm going to lay out the details for you right now.
Alpha Male 2.0. Freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. We do 5 videos a week here on how to make both your business life and woman life more free, because you need both. If you subscribe to this channel, leave a like on this video, and leave a comment on this video, you will automatically be entered into the regular drawing for my online video course on how to create location-independent income, normally $1,400. We regularly announce the winners at the community feed at this channel.
So after being in Paraguay for several weeks, I am back home in Dubai, and unfortunately, I'm not actually home. I don't have an actual long-term apartment yet. The way it works in Dubai, and most countries are not like this, just so you're aware, but the way it works in Dubai is you have to have legal residency before you actually can get a long-term lease, like a year lease. You can do Airbnb and hotels and things like that, but in terms of getting a lease in your name, you need to actually be a legal resident first. So in this video, I will go through the process of what I've gone through in terms of getting legal residency in Dubai. And as I said earlier, it will give you hints into how this works in terms of other countries, because I have residencies in about 3 or 4 other countries as well, and I'm working toward residencies in several others. And this will give you kind of a good idea on what's involved in getting residency. Now first, to be very clear, a lot of guys still screw this up. Residency and citizenship are 2 completely different things. They have nothing to do with each other. Citizenship means you are a citizen of that country, you have a passport from that country. You are an actual citizen, legal citizen of that country. Residency is very different. Residency means you're not a citizen of that country, you're not a citizen at all, but you have a little card that says you can live in that country without having to leave every 90 days or every 60 days or what have you on some kind of visitor's visa. If you're an American, the American example would be those Mexicans who get green cards. So you may know, and I certainly know in the United States, Mexicans, Indians, Asians who live in the United States, they are legal residents, they can live there for as long as they want, they never have to leave if they don't want to. But they're not citizens. They can't vote in elections. In most cases, they can't own a gun. They don't have the full sets of rights because they're not full citizens. They have a green card, which is their version of a residency card. So in Dubai, I have the same thing. I have what's called an Emirates ID card. And that means I am a legal resident of Dubai. And the process for being a resident in Dubai basically works like this. First, you have to set up some kind of ownership. You have to purchase real estate or set up a corporate structure here in Dubai, which I did last year. So I have a company based in Dubai now. It's something I wanted anyway. Strange is I have corporations based in several different countries all over the world now. It's kind of crazy. I actually have a spreadsheet of all my corporations. It's kind of fun. But anyway, so that's the first thing you have to do in Dubai. And again, this is just Dubai, which is the United Arab Emirates. Not all countries require you to set up a corporation in their country. A lot of countries do, a lot of countries don't. Every country is different. I'm just giving you the Dubai example so you have an example. Next, I had to submit my passport and a bunch of other paperwork. I had to apply for residency in the United Arab Emirates once my corporation was done. That took a little time. I used a firm to do this. Whenever you go after residency in a new country, it is important to use a firm. Either an attorney firm that specializes in immigration in that country, or an immigration firm that specializes in giving people citizenships and residencies. That's all they do. Immigration firms are better. They are usually cheaper and more efficient than using attorneys, but in many countries you don't have these kinds of corporations. You're going to have to use an attorney. So if you're going after a more second world or third world country, you're going to have to utilize an attorney. If you're dealing with a first world country like the UAE, you can use an immigration firm, which I did. If you're worried about how much that would cost, that's going to run you anywhere in terms of US dollars, anywhere from $800 to about $1,500. So money well spent. You want to use a firm. Do not do this yourself. If you try to do this yourself, you're going to get fucked. And here's what I mean. I've seen guys go through this. You're going to be in a scenario where you're going to have to sit in line for an hour or 2 hours or longer at some government office. Remember, you're dealing with governments here. Governments. Are governments really efficient and on their game and quick? No, you're dealing with governments. So you're going to have to sit in an office or sit in line at some government office like the Department of Motor Vehicles for an hour or two. When you finally get called up, you'll submit your paperwork that you thought was good, and they're going to say, oh, sorry, you're missing this, or you filled out this thing wrong, you got to come back tomorrow. And you got to do it all over again. It's a nightmare. You don't want to go through that. Number one. Number two, these firms, these attorney firms or immigration firms, will let you cut through the line. they'll put a little stamp on your paperwork that says something like VIP or whatever. So while everyone else is waiting in line for 2 hours, you walk right in, you walk right to the front of the line, you get your stuff stamped, and then you leave. I did this in Dubai. I did this in Panama. It's awesome. In both cases, when I was applying for residency, I got right through. I didn't have to wait. It was awesome, with one exception I'll get to in a second. The next thing I had to do for Dubai is I had to get a special visa printed up in color with a barcode, and I had to arrive into the country and go through immigrations and have them stamp that visa in addition to stamping my passport. Had to do that. Then I had to submit the visa. Then I had to go get a medical exam. And what they call a medical exam here in Dubai is really just, they take a little blood sample like this much, hardly any. It's funny because when I get blood tests done, I get testosterone tests, estradiol tests, hormonal tests, lipid panels, STD tests. So I get a lot of blood tests done. When I get blood tests done, they take 4, 5, 6 vials of blood. This test was easy. It was like half a vial and they were done. A few seconds, they were done. Then you walk to another room and they do a very quick chest x-ray. You just lean your chest against a metal plate. The lady goes, beep, 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 okay, you're done, and you walk out. That's it. That was the medical exam. And I didn't have to wait in line for that, whereas a lot of people did, because my immigration firm got me in there, lickety-split, right in front of the line. Kind of nice. Then 2 days later, I had to go back in for a biometrics, where they had to do fingerprints and a handprint. Unfortunately for that, there was no way to cut in line, so I had to wait in line about 45, 50 minutes. And the reason for that is right now, in the Muslim world, which the UAE is a part of, they are going through Ramadan, which is their very, very big holiday. And this year it goes from mid-April to mid-May. And during Ramadan, things move a little more slowly. The government certainly moves a little more slowly. If I had not done this during Ramadan, it would have been much faster. But I had no choice because of COVID. As I've mentioned before, because of COVID and all this hysteria around COVID all over the world, it has delayed my Five Flags plans, most of them a good year or so. So that's one of the factors you have to factor in if you're doing this during a COVID era. Then I basically had to wait. I had to get a little thing stamped, permanently attached on one of the pages in my passport, and then I got my Emirates ID card. And I am right now in a hotel room, but as I'm recording this video, I am now looking for apartments, and I should be able to get one in a few days. And what's interesting here in the UAE is that you do not pay monthly rent. You pay rent once a year or once a quarter. It's a very weird thing they have here. It's part of their Muslim Sharia law stuff, where most people, what they do when they get an apartment here is they cut a check for the first 3 months. They give the landlord 3 more post-dated checks, and every 3 months, the landlord just deposits these checks. The reason they do that, I know it's crazy, it's weird, is because in Dubai, in the UAE, bouncing a check is actually a crime. So if you bounce a check to someone in the UAE, the police actually get involved, and landlords know this and renters know this. So they make goddamn sure those checks are good, or they use cashier's checks and things like that. And when I say checks, they actually use physical written checks. They don't do this stuff with debit cards or credit cards or Bitcoin or that stuff you can do in the United States, unfortunately. What I'm gonna do is just pay one check that will cover me for an entire year for my rent. And as I've talked about in the past, that will be my apartment for a year. And then later this year, Pink Firefly and I will get a house in North America. And then when we're settled there, Pink Firefly will come to Dubai with me and we will get a different apartment, a much larger apartment that we will both live in for the long term. So this apartment will just be a pretty basic 2-bedroom apartment just for me, just for the next year, just to get settled. I'm gonna be very happy to do this because I have been basically homeless for about 3 months now. I haven't really had a home. I've been living out of Airbnbs and hotels. And in one case, Pink Firefly's small apartment, for about 2 weeks. Right over there, you can't see it in this hotel room. I have a suite here. I have about 8 or 9 boxes of my stuff all stacked up there. So I'll be moving all that to the apartment. And the only other decision I had to make was whether or not to get a furnished or unfurnished apartment. My understanding from people here who I know and trust is that it costs more to get a furnished apartment because they rape you on the furniture and they got to charge you the insurance on the furniture and all that good stuff, but it's just a lot easier. Since I don't like spending money, I will get an unfurnished apartment, which means I'll have to get some furniture. Now, fortunately, I am pretty much a minimalist, and so I'm not gonna get very much stuff. I'm gonna get a bed and a standing desk and a walking treadmill and a chair, and that's probably about it. I'll be a bachelor once again. Kind of funny. But that's what I'm gonna do just to hold me over for the next year until Pink Firefly and I get settled here for real. And when that happens, I will do a video on that. I will do a walkthrough video on the apartment I choose. I'm gonna be in the area of Dubai called the Marina. There are basically 2 large downtown areas in Dubai with the big skyscrapers. There's one called downtown, there's one called the Marina. I'm gonna be in the Marina. You get a little more for your money down there and it's just as cool. And I'm going to be on a very high floor. I told my rental agent I want to be on a very, very, very high floor so it's quiet. I want a really kick-ass view. I want 2 bedrooms, various other requirements I had, and we'll see. So in a future video very soon, I will show you what I pick. And then next year when I get the big apartment, I will do a walkthrough on that as well. I will continue to keep you updated on everything I'm doing. I get a lot of questions about this. Matter of fact, of all the topics I get in terms of questions, 5 flags and international stuff is probably my #1 most requested topic. So on this YouTube channel, I will probably be doing a lot more topics and a lot more videos on that. And I have a course coming up in about a month or 2 on that, but I can't talk about that yet. In the meantime, if you need help with building an international lifestyle, moving out of your country, saving money on taxes, what have you, you can go to joinsmic.com. That is my monthly mentorship and audio training program. Or in the meantime, you can click here for the 10 reasons I chose to move to Dubai after evaluating many, many other countries. Or you can click here with my history of 5 flags and the journey that I've had up until now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.